right. Well, good Thursday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson, and let's go in and talk about the weather because we have some stuff to talk about tonight, and you can already see right here by the title. By the title. July 4th plans could get dangerous real quick, and we talked about this and touched on it a little bit last night. We're going to continue to go in and talk about it again today just because I think that this is something very important, and honestly it's really the only thing to really look at is just the heat, really. um we do have a risk of severe weather coming up as well. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but before we get to that, what's on tap? Mostly dry with isolated evening showers possible early tonight, and honestly just looking at the radar right now, I'm not really seeing too much. Building heat with heat indices of up to 100 to 110 degrees. Heat advisories likely on Saturday and Sunday, so it's going to be hot, hot, hot this weekend. Continued scattered showers and thunderstorms next week, with more heat advisories potentially possible, and another period of extreme heat possible going into mid to late week next week, going into the weekend. So a lot of stuff is going to happen, and honestly, I think that we should honestly start preparing now for that insane heat to start coming in, and just for us to go on and make sure that we know what precautions you can take for when it comes to this extreme heat that's about to take place. If you have not hit the like button yet or the subscribe button yet, go on and do so. We're at 757, trying to get to that main goal of 800. And then also share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, and people that you don't talk to regularly because it's free. It's free, and it always will be free. So what's currently going on? Well, if we look at the entire state of South Carolina, you're not seeing much. You may not even see anything at all, but I see like a little shower up here near St. George, causing maybe some sprinkles. But again, I'm not really seeing anything too bad right now. Now, as we go on and take a look over at the entire United States, well, one thing I will say that you also can see is we have some rainfall. We have just active conditions everywhere. I mean, we're seeing rainfall up here in the Northeast. We're seeing it in the Ohio Valley. We're seeing flooding in southern Illinois, Indiana, Missouri getting in on some flooding. We also see some severe weather, even a tornado watch in Oklahoma. We have some more severe weather in Texas, the Colorado, New Mexico border area. We also see some rainfall up here in the Pacific Northwest, the Northern Rockies, the Intermountain West. I mean, everybody, every region is receiving some sort of rainfall. And obviously, the Southeast, we have some rainfall in Mississippi, through Alabama, through Georgia, going up into Florida, or down to Florida, and then also into South Carolina. So, a good amount of stuff has been going on. And honestly, it's not really going to stop. Cloud cover right now seems to be pretty minimal, though. We're not really seeing too much of that. Midlands seeing some PD areas, low country seeing some. But that's about all. Upstate's not really seeing too much in terms of cloud cover activity right now. Now, if we look at our cloud cover for the future, we go on and push this forward later on into tonight, going into tomorrow morning. I will say, and I talked about this afternoon when I came here for the afternoon forecast update, cloud cover is really going to try and stay away from us as we go into tonight, going into early tomorrow morning. So it looks like we're going to be nice and clear for the majority of us as we wake up this morning. Now, as you move later on into the afternoon, that cloud cover will build. It will build, and the entire state looks like it wants to try and get some cover as we go into the afternoon, which is good. You know, we are not receiving too much in terms of super hot conditions with the sun completely out. But as you move over into Friday afternoon, going into Friday evening, Friday night, here Saturday morning, cloud cover is still here. Cloud cover is still here, but it's kind of just fading away. We move into Saturday afternoon now, and now we're back completely covered with that cloud cover once again. Now, for our current temperatures, we're talking about 79 in Somerville, 79 in Charleston, as well as 80, that is, inside of Beaufort, 81 in Orangeburg, and 77 in Georgetown, Conway, 79, Myrtle Beach, and 80 in Florence, 82 in Columbia, as well as 79 in Newberry, 76 inside of Anderson, in Clemson, 75 in Greenville, and 76 in Gaffney and York. Now, for our air quality, we're looking okay. You see some moderates going on in the upstate. You see the Midlands. You see the PD areas right now. Kind of just having us around just that moderate area. Just around that moderate area for the majority of us. So if you're in that yellow, just make sure that you are paying attention tonight if you're outside for a long period of time, and make sure that you are aware of what's going to happen with that air quality. Low temperatures for tonight. We're talking about 68 in Spartanburg, 68 Rock Hill, as well as 72 in Columbia, 72 Orangeburg, and 72 in Moncks Corner, 77 in Charleston, and 73 in Georgetown, 76 Myrtle Beach, and 79, yes, 79 in Hilton Head Island. We have a pretty high low temperature tonight down there in Hilton Head Island. And then high temperatures for tomorrow, we're talking about 89 in Greenville, 90 inside of Spartanburg, 88 in Lawrence, and even 90 in Newberry, 94 Columbia, and 93 in Orangeburg, Moncks Corner, 91 in Georgetown, and 88 inside of Myrtle Beach, 95 up there all the way in Cheraw. So we're going to continue to see these hot temperatures, and that's not even with heat index values. Heat index values, that brings us up to around 100, 103 in Charleston, 103 Hilton Head Island, maybe even trying to get up to 104, 105 isolated in some spots in the low country, mainly near those coastal areas. So if you are kind of in that purple area, it's very faint, but if you're kind of near that purple area, that's where the hottest high temperatures could potentially be at. So we're definitely going to have to watch for that and see what happens. Now, as we go in and take a look over into our rainfall for tonight, going into tomorrow and tomorrow night, seeing a good amount, 1/100 of an inch to 1/10 of an inch for Lawrence, going over into Greenwood, going over into Columbia, even into Barnwell and King Street, 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch for a couple areas like Moncks Corner, Orangeburg, 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch for Walterboro, and some isolated spots in the low country in the southern Midlands. So those areas are kind of watching for the majority of that rainfall to occur in. The timing of it, we'll get into that once we get into the models. But for the SPC outlook, obviously no thunderstorms are expected for tonight, so we're looking good there. Tomorrow, thunderstorms are definitely possible statewide. I mean, you see light green throughout the entire state. And then finally, for Saturday, severe weather is back on the table. Severe weather is back on the table for Saturday. We're looking at a marginal risk of severe weather. That is a 5% risk of severe weather on Saturday for the entire state. And you might be saying, okay, well, a 5% is just a 5%. That is true. You're right. But in the weather world, I always like to say here on the South Carolina Weather Channel, we always take any risk seriously. It doesn't matter if it is a 2%, a 1%, or even a 0.0001%. We take every risk seriously no matter what. And because things can happen, things have happened on marginal risk days, things have happened when it's only a 5% risk. And so, what are the hazards? Well, the hazards right now have not been explicitly released by the Storm Prediction Center, but if I was to guess, probably a damaging wind risk, as usually that's what it is during this time frame. But we'll go on and get into that in a moment. And then fire weather is not expected. Excessive rainfall, we're good as well, so we're not seeing anything there. The crazy score for tonight, we're at a 9. If you were asking what's the crazy score, it's a score that we see how active our conditions are throughout the entire state of South Carolina. And right now we're at a 9 for tonight. Pretty simple. No significant weather, clear skies, light clouds. All of that seems to be playing into tonight. So now it's model time. Probably the most anticipated portion, for me at least, and probably for others. We get to go in and see what the radar could potentially look like for the future and temperatures. But first, we're going to start off with the short-term future. We're going to start off here at 9 o'clock p.m., 9 o'clock p.m. And as we go in and push this forward into later tonight, you're not seeing much in terms of rainfall activity. In fact, most of that rainfall activity is gone by around like 12 o'clock in the morning. Now, as you move forward, here's 6 a.m. going into Friday, going into 9 a.m. going into Friday, and you're still not seeing much. I mean, the convection that we were seeing on that rainfall map earlier doesn't seem to really happen too much in the morning. It really seems to happen during that afternoon time frame. There we go, by 1 to 2 o'clock p.m. Now you're starting to see some shower and storm activity potentially inside of the upstate, potentially inside of the Midlands, potentially inside of the western PD areas. So we are seeing some rainfall starting to go along. And you can see how it spreads. I mean, now we're seeing thunderstorms, because remember, thunderstorms are possible tomorrow for the entire state of South Carolina, no matter where you are. The ingredients are there. Now you're starting to see showers and storms starting to spread, not only from the Midlands, but now the low country starting to see some. Now the Grand Strand areas are starting to see some by around 4 or 5 p.m. or so. And they could be some pretty big ones, too. I mean, you can see on the radar, obviously, it's not really showing or can't really predict how much rainfall is going to fall on a exact scale, or how intense the rainfall is going to be. But you can look at some of these cores with some of these storms, see some pretty heavy rainfall. So if that can drop a good amount of rainfall in some spots, I mean, hey, we'll take that all day. We will take that all day. We move over into around 7 o'clock p.m. This is now tomorrow evening. Now you see some shower and storm activity kind of going on the eastern side. Western side is kind of done, it seems, but don't worry. Seems like the western low country may still want some action later tomorrow evening going into tomorrow night. And then as you move into the Friday night hours going into the Saturday morning hours, there goes the risk of severe weather pushing through. Now, you're not really seeing much up here, but it's really going to try and pop off as we get into the afternoon on Saturday. And you start to see some storms starting to pop up with most likely the potential of damaging winds. And, usually hail could be there. Tornadoes, not really there much. Not really there much. Usually during this time frame. But anything's possible, like I said, and like I said, they have not released the exact hazards yet. So I do believe that most likely it's going to be damaging wind, because I'm not really seeing too much of a tornado aspect here. I'm not really seeing that too much. Now, what's going on in terms of the long-term future? We're going to start off here on Saturday. 2 o'clock p.m., kind of where we just ended off at. There goes the risk of severe weather kind of moving through, brings us some beneficial rainfall, and then it kind of moves away, and we still see some more rainfall going into Sunday, so some relief definitely is there. Definitely it is there. You move over into Monday, going into Tuesday, and just you see scattered showers and storms going on. Wednesday comes along, going over into Thursday, still kind of just seeing scattered showers and storms here and there, nothing big. Moving on into Saturday, also into Sunday, Saturday, which is July 4th here. We're kind of just starting to see some of that severe weather, or some of that, thunderstorm activity. Severe weather, that's a bit of a stretch for now, because that is still around 222 hours out. But some of that storm activity kind of goes on during July 4th. I mean, this could potentially happen. I mean, again, you go to around 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock p.m. on July 4th. What do you see? You see rainfall activity. So you can't really rule out any rainfall yet. We cannot rule out any rainfall yet on July 4th, and we cannot rule out dry conditions either, as it looks like some moisture could potentially be there. And so that's not the main thing that I'm worried about on July 4th. That we'll get into that once we get into the temperatures. But for right now, it looks like that we could potentially be talking about some rainfall, thunderstorm activity on July 4th. Now, you move forward even more past July 4th, and you're seeing a good amount of storm systems maybe trying to come through later past that. And we get some good beneficial rainfall afterwards. So, according to this model, according to the GFS, we could be getting some good rainfall here after July 4th. Now, as we move over into the GEFS, this is a huge improvement for what we've been seeing for the past couple of days. Now we're looking at 2 inches of rainfall over the next 300 to 400 hours over inside the Midlands, over inside the Low Country, the Grand Strand areas, the Upstate, getting probably the least amount, around 1.5 at the minimum. And according to the European is still on the bit of the lesser side, but again, still a big improvement for what we've been seeing. I mean, we were looking at maybe like an inch of rainfall, if not even less than an inch in some spots. But now, patterns looking pretty up for us now, Now we're seeing potentially around an inch and a half to potentially up to 2.5, maybe even close to 3 inches of rainfall for some spots as we move throughout the next 360 hours. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say here in terms of this, rainfall that we could potentially see over the next 300, 400 hours or so. What about temperatures? And so this is where my main topic comes in for today. When I say July 4th plans can get dangerous real quick. This is where it comes in. So really make sure that you're paying attention here so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because if we start off going into tonight, here at around 11 o'clock p.m., going all the way to around 2 o'clock in the morning on Friday. Okay, we're seeing some cooler conditions. cooling average only around 4 or 5 degrees below average as we move into tonight. That's not much. Still pretty much just near normal. But as we move into the morning hours tomorrow, going into the afternoon, you start to see around 5 to 10 degrees above average. So stay with me here. Stay with me here. We move over into Friday evening, going all the way into Saturday. Now you're kind of seeing like a little bit of a mix in between some cooler air and some warmer air kind of going on in some of these areas. But we're going to move past. Moving on into Sunday, going on into Monday as well. And look at Monday. We see some spots where we're 11 degrees above average. We see some spots where we're 7. We see some spots where we're 12 degrees above average. We even may see some spots that we are close to 13 degrees above average as we move over into next week, Monday. In June, 13 degrees above average in June. We then move on over into Tuesday, going on into Wednesday, and the heat completely takes over. I mean, now we're talking about 15, 16 degrees above average as we move into midweek next week. We move into July the 3rd, or the July the 2nd here this is. And now we're seeing close to 17, 18, 19 degrees above average. July the 3rd comes along. Back to seeing close to almost 20 degrees above average. And then July the 4th comes in, and we're potentially talking about 15, 16, 17 degrees above average or so. So we are seeing above average temperatures as we move into next week. That's not, I don't think that that's really out of touch. I think that we will see above average temperatures as we move into next week. Further than that, as we move into the week after next week, I do think that cooler air will try to make a little bit more of an impact, so maybe not as hot, but warmer temperatures will still be there. And so, okay, that's cool. We see what's going on in terms of the feel like, or the actual anomalies, but like what's going on in terms of the actual temperatures. We move forward into tomorrow. We know what tomorrow looks like. Saturday, we're up into the 90s or so. Sunday, we're up into the upper 90s now. Okay, things are looking a little bit more up in terms of those temperatures. Monday comes along, though. Oh, now we start to see some 100s potentially. And no, that's not even including heat index values. Now we're starting to see some 100s next week. We go into Tuesday, more upper 90s come into play. Wednesday, maybe some temperatures up from 100 potentially as we move into midweek. Thursday comes along. Now we're seeing 105. I see 105. I see 107. Not feel like temperatures. 107 real temperatures. We move into that Friday, 107, 108 in terms of actual temperatures. We move into July 4th, a little bit cooler, but it's still 104, so that's still pretty hot nonetheless. So it's going to be hot next week. I don't think anyone really is going to try and deny that at all. I don't think anyone's really going to try and deny that. And, I've been saying all this time, that's not even including heat index values. What do those heat index values actually look like? We start off, and we're just going to move all the way through to Monday of next week. We're seeing already feel like temperatures of near 100. Tuesday, feel like temperatures near 100. Wednesday, up 106, 107. Going into Thursday, 112, 113. On July the 2nd, you're seeing 112, 113, 114. Some spots maybe, I'm not going to say 115. I think that may be close to stretching it there. But as you go over into July 4th, 110, 112. And that moves over into around the 192-hour mark. So that's not quite 200 hours yet. So I think that we should be okay to go on and show that. Because I think really once you get to that 200-hour mark, that's when things start to get a little bit out of hand and just a little bit unreliable. But we can go on and look at the GEFS real quick and take a look at the 18Z. We can move over to our actual temperatures. And according to the GEFS, as you move into next weekend, even the GEFS is like, okay, well, it's still going to stay hot. Even as you move more and more into July, it will be cooling down. It seems like it does have us on a bit of a cool down, but it's still going to be summer heat. And summer is still going to do what summer still wants to do. Summer is going to do what summer still wants to do, and I don't think anybody really is going to try stopping that. And I think that that is about all that I have to say here, except for one more thing, real quick. If you want to take a look at the screen, real quick, July 4th plans get dangerous, real quick. See on the right, heat safety, drink plenty of water. That should be, pretty self-explanatory there. Make sure, hey, some ice cold water, just not like warm or like hot water that you may like leave in the car or something like that. Make sure it's cold. Stay in the shade as often as you can. Please stay in the shade as often as you can. If you are going to be doing stuff at all outside next week, limit time outdoors if you can, and then wear light, loose clothing, and also no dark clothing as well. That's also not really the best of ideas. And then stay cool, stay safe. You see there on the bottom left side of the screen there. So just keep those in mind as you go more and more into next week, just because, we've seen heat, but we haven't seen heat like this yet. The heat that we're going to receive next week, we haven't seen that type of heat at all this year yet. We have not seen it at all this year yet. So just make sure that you're aware. Make sure that you keep in touch with family members, friends, all that's going to be outside doing stuff. Making sure that they're staying safe. And that's all that I can see now in terms of our long-term future and just in terms of the main soliloquy portion of the forecast. But we're going to move off the heat, even though not really completely, because I do want to talk about the drought. And obviously the drought, sometimes may have to do with some heat as well. I do want to talk about the drought. So if I go on and take a look and first off explain what the drought is a thing that we go on and look at. The drought monitor is a thing that the U.S. Drought Monitor updates, and we here on the South Carolina Weather Channel, we go on and take a look at it, and we see what's going to happen in terms of the drought for the future. So you can see right now in the chat, go on and vote in that if you have not already. It says 33% thinks that the drought has expanded. That's pretty self-explanatory. 67% thinks that the drought has shrunk / stayed the same. And then we also have around a good 0% who thinks that the drought is gone and the abnormally dry remains. So that is around, that is not, obviously not much people. But if you go over into the drought and the abnormally dry is gone, nobody is there either. So I honestly think that those two answers are pretty much not going to be an answer to this question. So I'm going to go in and just rule them two off. But if you have no idea what the abnormally dry is, it is a piece of not really the drought, but it is like a dry area that's not necessarily a drought, but it is dry. It is not an area of drought, but it's an area where it is pretty dry at, and it's pretty close to becoming a drought. So again, make sure you vote in that because polling is about to end as soon as I reveal the answer, which will be in about a couple of seconds. So let's go on real quick, get a drum roll real quick, and check it out. And it seems like right now that the drought has expanded, or not the drought has expanded, the drought has shrunk / stayed the same. That's the correct answer choice. That is the correct answer choice for tonight. So congratulations to the 70% of people that got it correct as we moved into tonight. And also me as well. I forgot to tell my answer, but trust me, please trust me. I was also a part of the 70%. Please trust me. So let's go ahead and give us a round of applause for the 70%. And so, honestly, I really don't even have to look at last week. I already see huge improvements. Look at the Low Country, huge improvements in Dorchester County, Western Charleston County, Colleton County, Beaufort, Jasper. These areas that are inside of the red now completely gone. Still see that red up there in northeastern Chesterfield and northern Marlborough County. But another big area, look over here in the Western Midlands. A big amount of abnormally dries going on over here now in the western part. Now, Aiken's no longer inside of a drought. Edgefield, McCormick, these areas no longer inside of a drought anymore, as they're now inside of the abnormally dry. And obviously that does come from the past 7 days. We've seen a couple of inches of rainfall over in parts of these western areas. So that will do it for sure. Now, there are a couple of areas like in Williamsburg County and in Georgetown counties where not too much rainfall really fell in those central and northern county areas. So we're really just going to have to hope for some more rainfall over there, hopefully. But for right now, we're not looking too bad compared to where we have been. So let's go ahead and give ourselves a round of applause for getting some of that rainfall. And so that's pretty much all I have to say here in terms of the drought monitor. If you did not win, you can tune in next week. Next week. And we will be, obviously, here doing the same thing, talking about the drought. Hopefully going on to see another big decrease. If we get some beneficial rainfall this week, though, that is the main question. But now it is time to go in and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say here for tonight. Starting off with, let's see, my Aunt Lula was here first tonight. She says, good evening, everyone. Today in Georgetown, we had a mild day, not too hot. Today's high was around 88. Currently, it's around 79. Well, thank you so much for that weather report for where you are. At my house today, it was around a good, that's not the website, it's around a good 81 currently as we speak. It feels like around 85. And the high temperature for today was around 91. That was the high temperature for today. Then my Aunt Shirley comes in and says, good evening and blessings to all. Well, thank you so much for that. Same to you. My Aunt Lewis says, I'm hoping that rain will come soon. I'm manually watering my garden twice a day. Then Thad says, good evening, Joseph and the 360 Weather family. I trust all is well with everyone. It was another breezy day here in San Antonio. That will continue. We had a high of around 94. Our current temperature is 90. We are in dire need for some rainfall. My fruits and vegetables could really benefit from some. And then my AC has been putting in work. Same at my house. In fact, as soon as I read that comment, it just turned on. So, even during the nighttime hours, putting in work. Then he also says, please pray for the people of Venezuela. This earthquake is something. There are a lot of people that are hurting a lot, that have lost their lives. Absolutely, we will be. And thank you so much for that information. Trail says, greetings, everyone. Greetings to you. And then my cousin Cheryl says, good evening, everyone. Good evening, weatherman. Hope all is well with everyone. Calm day today in Philadelphia. Hope you all had a good day. Want more rain. Love y'all. Well, thank you so much for that comment. And thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Mr. Anthony says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Mr. Daniel says, need rain. Absolutely. And then Mr. Michael says, hopefully everyone enjoys a safe and enjoyable 4th of July. Have a restful evening, Joseph. Well, thank you so much for that. And then my Nana says, hello, Jay, and all. Hello to you. And that's all. So pretty big chat tonight. We're going to go on real quick and give them a round of applause for the people who did come on and type tonight. And that was top fan of the night for tonight time. So, this one was kind of said more inside of... This one was said kind of more inside of the low temperatures for tonight. And I kind of emphasized it pretty well when I kind of said it. So, if you were paying attention, you should know the answer to this question really quick. Like, really quick. Just because I emphasized it when I said it, and actually said it multiple times. But in terms of our low temperatures for tonight, what is the hottest area that's on the map? What is the hottest area in terms of low temperatures for tonight? When I talked about low temperatures earlier, what is that area? If you can go on and guess and get it correct, you will be top fan of the night for tonight. So I'm going to give you all a couple of minutes there. Also, if you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button yet, go in and do so. I also am just checking out the people that have tuned in. We've had 32 people tune in tonight, and we only have 9 likes. 32 people have tuned in, and we only have 9 likes. If you're a part of that group that have not hit the like button yet, 32 people have tuned in, and we only have 9 likes. Again, if you're a part of that group, go on and do so. We're going to start off and talk about the 4 areas outside of South Carolina, starting off with San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. You can see some people already here from those areas, and that's the reason why we talk about them. So we're going to start off with San Antonio first, with low temperatures tonight at 75, high temperatures for tomorrow at 94, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 75. No precipitation tonight, tomorrow, and honestly, just for the next 7 days. You're going to be nice and calm, nice and dry, and I know you said you need rainfall, but unfortunately for you, I don't really see too much rainfall really happening for you. I mean, even if you do see a little light sprinkle over the next couple of days, that's pretty much all you're going to get. Now, in terms of your future, temperature-wise, you're going to continue to stay in the mid-90s, not really going to drop too much for that. And then it's also going to stay breezy. You're going to stay breezy all the way through into next week. Winds as high as 25, 30 miles per hour as you move all the way into next week. So that's pretty much what I have here for you. I see the first answer, low country. That is a good answer, but not the answer that I'm looking for. That's a good answer, but not the answer that I'm looking for. I'm looking for a specific city / town. Not looking for a region, which I probably should have emphasized, so that was my bad on that. But I'm talking about a specific city / town. Moving on to Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight at 70, high temperatures for tomorrow at 95, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 73. No precipitation tonight, but tomorrow and tomorrow night, you have a chance of thunderstorm activity. PD not correct either. In terms of your severe weather, excessive rainfall for you, it looks like that you are kind of in the clear, except for until you get to Saturday. Saturday, you have a slight risk of severe weather, 15% risk. So we're going to go on and, talk about those hazards and stuff. Actually, I don't know if we're going to be able to. I may talk about it tomorrow. I'll see what happens. But I don't know if we will, because remember, I won't be here tomorrow evening or Saturday. So I'll figure out what I'm going to do there. But you have a chance of severe weather on Saturday, 15% risk. Just make sure that you're aware there. And then as you move on over into your excessive rainfall outlook for right now, it looks like that you are in the clear. But obviously we know things can develop, things can change, so we're going to go in and keep an eye on it for you. And then for your future, it does look like that you will continue to stay up into the upper 90s. In fact, later on next week, it's going to be near 100 degrees. We've been talking about South Carolina's heat. Your heat will be right along with us as you're up into the hundreds. Now, as we go on over into Philadelphia, I see Grand Strand, no. Charleston, no. Not Charleston. I will say, though, if we're not including Low Country, PD, Grand Strand, Charleston is pretty close. It is pretty close to this area. It is pretty close. For Philadelphia, you have low temperatures tonight at 67, high temperatures for tomorrow at 90, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 69. No precipitation for tonight or tomorrow, but tomorrow night, showers are likely, and then areas of fog will also be in the forecast for you. Now, as you move on into your excessive rainfall and severe weather and stuff, it looks like for right now that you're looking good. Severe weather, you're also looking good as well. And then for your future, temperature-wise, you're going to continue to kind of just stay in the 90s for tomorrow, but then as you go into Saturday, Sunday, you'll go back down into the 80s or so. But don't worry, next week, you will be kind of getting back up to the 90s or so. Somerville, Georgetown, Walterboro, no, none of those are correct. It's probably further out. It's further than Somerville, I know that, and it's further than Walterboro. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that it is further than, actually, maybe on par with Georgetown, but I know for a fact it's further than Walterboro and Somerville for sure. But yeah, like I was saying, temperatures in around the 90s or so as you go more into next week. And then the final area, Duncan, Oklahoma. You have low temperatures tonight at 75, high temperatures for tomorrow at 93, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 78. Slight chance of thunderstorms for tonight. Tomorrow, no precipitation is expected. We're not looking for any sort of rainfall activity there. And then if we go on and take a look at your temperatures for the future, you're around 95 on Saturday, 96 on Sunday, 97 on Monday. So you're going to continue to stay hot And it also will be pretty breezy as you go into tonight, tomorrow, and honestly as you go all the way through into Sunday. For your severe weather, excessive rainfall, it looks like excessive rainfall-wise that you are not really good. Tonight you have an isolated risk of flash flooding, and then in terms of severe weather, for right now, it does look like that you are trying to stay out of it, but I think you still have a risk of damaging winds of 5%. And then as you move into tomorrow, you're kind of just good past that. And that's all I can see here. Orangeburg, Florence, no. I'm going to give y'all a couple more chances here, and then I'm going to go in and reveal the answer. But first, what's going on throughout the entire U.S. weather news-wise? Will severe weather and flooding threats continue for portions of the central U.S., with impactful flash flooding possible from the southern Kansas into southwestern Missouri? Extremely critical fire weather conditions will also develop across the Great Basin and the Southwest on Friday, with dry and windy conditions through the weekend. Dangerous heat will increase across the southern and the central U.S. this weekend. No, not the upstate. Not in the upstate. Not in the PD. Not in the Midlands. We have some severe weather. Obviously, that we just talking about in the central U.S. We have some more. I'm just going to kind of try and move through over the next couple of days. Tomorrow, we're going to see some in southern Illinois, southern Indiana, parts of Kansas, Missouri, all the way up into Montana and South Dakota, North Dakota. And then as you move into Saturday, obviously, our risk of severe weather up into North Carolina, Virginia. They also have some in Montana, North Dakota, and northwestern South Dakota. And that's pretty much all that I can see here in terms of severe weather. And I don't see the answer inside the chat. Remember, I was looking for a specific city/town name. Berkeley, that's a county. Upstate, pretty much the region. Murrells Inlet, that's not correct either. It's further than that. Or closer than that, excuse me, if Murrells Inlet's a bit too far. But the answer was Hilton Head Island. That was the answer for tonight. Hilton Head Island was the correct answer. So nobody got it tonight, unfortunately. So, we're going to do honorable mentions real quick. Mr. Daniel was there. My Aunt Lula was there. Dad was also there. And those are the only ones that I can see right now on my screen. Yep, seems to be about it. So congratulations to the three of y'all for being honorable mentioned for tonight. And that's all that I have to say here for tonight. So remember, as we move into next week, make sure that you have your heat plans in place. Make sure that you have plenty of water. Make sure that you take breaks next week. Also, and that also just doesn't have to do really with July 4th. You can do it yard work if you're outside. Make sure that that's also taken into account. And then remember, I will not be here tomorrow evening, Saturday, and Sunday morning. I will be here tomorrow morning, but not for Friday evening into Sunday morning. So make sure that you know that. I may put out a poll or a little post, saying that I won't, but keep that in mind. And then I don't see anything else here. Let me check my email real quick before I forget. See if somebody sent me something beforehand. Nope, don't see anything here. So I am done for tonight. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning for your Friday morning forecast update. Let's just get through tomorrow, and we will be at the weekend.